Sam C. Story time on a little scooter. What's the story? Where are we going? Journey to the center of the earth. Part 31 for us. Oh, we're going to take a little slow roll. Sunset Drive. Over here in the east side of the valley. We're going to go up the mighty Usery Pass. We're going to go past the Salt River tubing area. And that's what we're going to do. And while we're doing that, we're going to read us a story. Now, this story we's on Journey to the Center of the Earth. And when we left this sucker off, they was getting on their raft. They had just named the Port Gretchen, after Harry's beloved girlfriend and fiance and cousin. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna they just pushed off. Oh, maybe we should talk about this drive a little bit. I got a feeling it's going to be a little disjointed, more so than normal today. Oh yeah, okay, so we're just going up the hill here towards what would be called, I guess, Usery's Pass. And to the right up here, there's a regional park, I think that's what it's called. And they got some nice RV spots. Some of them got electricity, and some of them even have a shaded area to park under. You know, it's at that time where it's just not going to be able to be in a tin can out in the desert here. Out on the left over there, where you see that big old arrow that says Phoenix this way, there's a gun range right there, and I think it's probably Usery Mountain or McDowell Mountain or something like that. Usery Mountain. Hey, oh yeah, I beeped at that guy there to see if he needed any assistance, and he did not. So off we go. Okay, I think we've done enough of that. Oh boy, I tell you, it gets nice when we get up over the top here and we get to look around that Salt River, little Salt River Valley thing. It sure is pretty in there, and kind of makes me wonder why we don't have a little bit more better development here. You can see, and this is like one of the best training areas for triathlon, because the pavement's new. Fair new, and they got they incorporated a big bike lane to begin with. They have to keep an eye on the traffic, and you'll see on this one here, when I get over the hill, there's somebody's pushing me, and finally they end up going around me, and you can see what the posted speeds are, and you can see what I'm trying to do to not be too much of a criminal there. But anyway, let's get moving on this story. I'm looking at this little drive here, and I'm going, oh boy, I'm ready to go for me a little scooter ride. Okay, let's get back to Port Gretchen is what they called it, and they's just pushing off. When we left the shore, the wind was blowing from the northward and eastward. We went directly before the wind at a much greater speed than we might have been expected from a raft. Okay? The dense layers of atmosphere at that depth had great propelling power and acted upon the sail with considerable force. I think we'll just let that one slide. At the end of an hour, my uncle, who had been taking careful observations, was enabled to judge of the rapidity with which we moved. It was far beyond anything seen in the upper world. "If," he said, "we continue to advance at our present rate, we shall have traveled at least 30 leagues in 24 hours. With a mere raft, this is at almost incredible velocity. Oh, not ludicrous velocity, incredible velocity, almost incredible velocity. I certainly was surprised, and without making any reply, went forward upon the raft. Already the northern shore was fading away on the edge of the horizon. The two shores appeared to separate more and more, leaving a wide and open space for our departure. Before me, I could see nothing but the vast and apparently limitless sea upon which we floated, the only living objects in sight. Let's take a look at this little drive here, see what's happening. Oh, we're starting to get a little bendy. That's always the fun part of this little drive here. You can't get too excited. Things have gotten quite busy here. You can see some of the truck drivers like to use this as a cutoff. You know, it looks good on the map, on Google Maps and stuff, but it's not a good cutoff, guys. It's a recreation area, and it slows down. Well, it's supposed to be down to 45, and it could legitimately be even slower in spots. There's just so much recreation activity that happens around here. Hiking, mountain biking, road biking, trail running. Yeah, we really, if we really give it just the slightest bit of effort, we really could take advantage of this area. It's getting used no matter what. It's the people are here and they're using it. We really should have like decent places for them to park and throw their garbage into containers. You can see, yeah. So anyway, yeah, the people are here. It's not a matter of build it and they will come situation. It's we need to build it because they's already here. So. All right, let's get back to this little story here. Only living objects in sight. Okay. The huge and dark clouds cast their gray shadows below. Shadows which seemed to crush that colorless and sullen water by their weight. Anything more suggestive of gloom and of regions of nether darkness I never beheld. Silvery rays of electric light, reflected here and there upon some small spots of water, brought up luminous sparkles in the long wake of our cumbrous bark. Ooh. Presently we were wholly out of sight of land. Not a vestige could be seen, nor any indication of where we were going. So still and motionless did we seem, without any distant point to fix our eyes on, that but for the phosphoric light in the wake of the raft, I should have fancied that we were still and motionless. But I knew that we were advancing at a very rapid rate, because my uncle told me so. Hey, let's take a look at this drive again. Yeah, like I say, you know what? This is a real pretty little drive that a lot of people. It's a really busy area here. Really busy area here. Yeah, we should have way more services. Yeah, look at all that. Oh boy, look at them old cones. And again, I need to figure out the ISO settings there. Because yeah, it's way darker than it would appear there. But what a pretty little drive. And there you go. Go get 'em, Ace. Okay, back to the story. Advancing at a very rapid rate. About 12 o'clock in the day, vast collections of seaweed were discovered surrounding us on all sides. I was aware of the extraordinary vegetative power of these plants, which have been known to creep along the bottom of the great ocean and stop the advance of large ships. But never were seaweeds seen so gigantic and wonderful as those of the Central Sea. I could well imagine how, seen at a distance, tossing and heaving on the summit of the billows, the long lines of algae have been taken for living things, and thus have been the fertile sources of belief in sea serpents. Oh, see, I never thought of that. Our raft swept past great specimens of fucus, or sea wrack, from 3,000 to 4,000 feet in length. Immense, incredibly long, looking like snakes that's stretched out far beyond our horizon. It afforded me great amusement to gaze on their variegated, ribbon-like, endless lengths. Hour after hour passed without our coming to the termination of these floating weeds. If my astonishment increased, my patience was well nigh exhausted. What natural force could possibly have produced such abnormal and extraordinary plants? What must have been the aspect of the globe during the first centuries of its formation, when under the combined action of heat and humidity, the vegetable kingdom occupied its vast surface to the exclusion of everything else? These were considerations of never-ending interest for the geologist and the philosopher. All this while we were advancing on our journey, and at length night came. Oh, what's we doing? We slowing down here. I know what's coming. Okay, so right here is the Salt River Tubing staging area, I guess. You bring your car, you park here, and they take you by bus from. They shuttle you by bus with a bunch of other drunken asses down to the place where you jump in the water with your tube, and then they bring you back. It's a fee. I'm not sure what it is. I've never done it. I see lots of people doing it. It looks like a real melee. So let's just take this drive off into the sun here. And boy, yeah, they sure have made improvements here over the last just couple of years. There's a lot of housing development that has happened in and around the area, and they're probably people who like recreation, because these roads are somehow getting worked on. All right, advancing. All this while we were advancing on our journey, and at length night came. But as I had remarked the evening before, the luminous state of the atmosphere was in nothing diminished. Whatever was the cause, it was a phenomenon upon the duration of which we could calculate with certainty. As soon as our supper had been disposed of, and some little speculative conversation indulged in, I stretched myself at the foot of the mast and presently went to sleep. Hans remained motionless at the tiller, allowing the raft to rise and fall on the waves. The wind being aft and the sail square, all he had to do was to keep his oar in the center. Ever since we had taken our departure from the newly named Port Gretchen, and my worthy uncle had directed me to keep a regular log of our day's navigation, with instructions to put down even the most minute particulars, every interesting and curious phenomenon, the direction of the wind, our rate of sailing, the distance we went. In a word, every incident of our extraordinary voyage. All right, I hear slowing down. Let's take a peek here. All right, okay. And then there's several, like I think that one over on the right is maybe Coon Bluff or something like that. Areas down by the river to recreate. And then you can go in there and float, because the people in the tubes come floating by. I think there's probably some water gun action happening there. And there's at least a few of those, and we get closer up to where the dam is up here, and then the water gets a little bit rougher. And yeah, you got to be careful. A couple of people a year, find Davy's locker. All right. Oh, our extraordinary incident of our extraordinary voyage. From our log, therefore, I tell the story of our voyage on the Central Sea. All right, let me get a glass of little wet the whistle here. Oh yeah, that's looking better. Whew. Okay, extraordinary voyage, Central Sea. Okay, picking up with some details here. Here we go now. Friday, August 16th. A steady breeze from the northwest. Raft progressing with extreme rapidity and going perfectly straight. Coast still dimly visible, about 30 leagues to leeward. Nothing to be seen beyond the horizon in front. And the extraordinary intensity of the light neither increases nor diminishes. It is singularly stationary. The weather remarkably fine. That is to say, the clouds have ascended very high and are light and fleecy, and surrounded by an atmosphere resembling silver infusion. Oh, that can't be good. Oh yeah, see, there's another, that's one of my favorite ones down there, to go down there, and I often stop. There's a nice little spot to stop and take pictures there. So yeah, every new motorcycle or car or whatever gets a little time over there. There's a spot where you can get some nice pictures. All right, moving on. Oh boy, I thought I was going to get right through the whole thing without it happening. Well, it might not happen yet. Oh yeah, okay, see, I'm not going to admit it because I found my spot. And when I say I found my spot, that doesn't mean I lost my spot. It just means, oh hey, look at this, that's my spot. The thermometer plus 32 degrees centigrade. About 12 o'clock in the day, our guide Hans, having prepared and baited a hook, cast his line into the subterranean waters. The bait he used was a small piece of meat, by means of which he concealed his hook. Anxious as was I, anxious as I was for a long time doomed to disappointment. Were these waters supplied with fish or not? That was the important question. No, was my decided answer. Then there came a sudden and rather hard tug. Hans coolly drew it in, and with it a fish which struggled violently to escape. "A fish!" cried my uncle, putting on his spectacles to examine it. "It is a sturgeon!" I cried. "Certainly a small sturgeon." The professor examined the fish carefully, noting every characteristic, and he did not concede in my opinion. Concede? Coincide. Let's try that one. Oh, yeah, that looks better. The fish had a flat head, round body, and the lower extremities covered with bony scales. Its mouth was wholly without teeth. The pectoral fins, which were highly developed, sprouted directly from the body, which, properly speaking, had no tail. The animal certainly belonged to the order in which naturalists class the sturgeon, but it differed from that fish in many essential particulars. All right, let's just put it off right there. Let's just put it off right there, because we're at the end of this thing for now. Oh boy, okay, we're getting excited. Let's take a look at this little drive. We just coming around the corner, and there's another nice big recreation area up here. You know, if this was one of those channels that had a bunch of good information, you guys would be getting it right now. But right now, you can just say, hey, yeah, we along the Salt River recreation area there, and there's some really good spots. There, you see, there's a nice parking spot right there even. Thank you so much for coming along, guys, and I promise we'll get more the next time. I don't think it'll be any different though. Let's do this here thing. See, and we'll give you a half a mo with the big old Rosie. Go, Big Rosie. Go, Big Rosie.